job and under investigation for what could be serious sexual misconduct.
State investigators are looking to see if he committed sexual battery on a woman he stopped while on duty.
Good evening, I'm Tawan Strader.
And I'm Jackie Nesprell. NBC6 investigator Willard Shepard first revealed Officer DeAndre Morris had been placed on administrative leave, but tonight he's discovered investigators are looking to see if Morris coerced a woman he stopped while on the job into having sex back at his home.
Here's Willard Shepard live in the newsroom with the Here's Willard Shepard live in the newsroom with the exclusive details for us tonight. Willard.
Well, Jawan, the details come from this alarming search warrant that we obtained today. It lays out what FDLE agents were looking for when they went into Morris's home after the woman told them she was driven in his police unit to his house where they had sex. This is former Miami Gardens police officer DeAndre Morris. A judge granted FDLE's request to enter his home as investigators examine if he committed felony sexual battery on a woman the search warrant alleges he stopped a few hours earlier when he was on duty in his uniform and driving a marked Miami Gardens patrol unit. FDLE says Morris stopped the woman and her friend here at this intersection in Opelika a few weeks ago and placed her in the rear of his unit. That's where the woman says he asked her if she was a prostitute. At one point, the officer asked the victim whether her breasts were real. She stated that they were implants, and the officer asked to see them. The victim alleges she showed him her breast, and he commented that they were nice. Morris is also under investigation for accepting unlawful compensation, and the victim told FDLE she initially resisted his request to remain at the location for 3 hours until his shift ended, but claims he told her if she did not wait for him, he would put out an all-points bulletin for her, alleging that she fled from him. From the scene, the warrant alleges the woman drove to another location where Morris put her in the rear of the patrol car and drove her to his home where they had sex. The judge approved the search for articles of clothing, specifically a pair of blue panties, a black wife-beater undershirt, and black socks. Also, well-soiled towels and bed sheets, body fluids, male sperm, and female vaginal fluids, and DNA. The woman came to the police department to complain and picked Morris out of a photo lineup. Now, Morris is presumed innocent of any of these allegations. We were unable to reach him or any representative for him. FDLE told us the warrant stands for itself and its investigation continues. Miami Gardens police says the chief's message that officers must follow the rules will be enforced, and Morris no longer works for them. Willard Shepard, NBC6 News.
Willard, thank you.
We all hope the trust we place in police officers will never be violated, but that is what one woman alleges happened to her when she was most in need of help.
She claims a police sergeant who was supposed to keep her safe instead attempted the unthinkable. Investigator Bob Norman has the story you'll see only on Local 10.
My name's Bob Norman. I'm with Channel 10 News. There was nothing funny about the accusation. There's allegations that you kidnapped a woman.
No comment.
And Miami Gardens Police Sergeant Javier Romagera laughed when asked about an open internal affairs investigation into his actions.
He committed armed kidnapping, and he committed attempted sexual assault.
Attorney Stephen Lopez represents this woman whose identity is being protected in a case that begins on the night of July 11th.
Running in the roadway.
When police were called about the woman, a Haitian immigrant with documented mental issues, running in traffic. Police records show it was Sergeant Romagera who took custody of her. That's Romagera on the police radio confirming he's taking the woman to a residence where she'd recently lived.
6625, Ficus Drive, Miramar.
So you transporting at 036?
This is 6625 Ficus Drive in Miramar, and there's a big problem with Sergeant Romagera's story. Did the police ever come to your door and bring her back? On the phone, the homeowner, Junior Benjamin, contradicted the sergeant's story. Never? It didn't happen. The woman said in a phone interview from a woman's shelter in New York, he brought her here.
He put me on the hotel.
We have evidence that shows that Sergeant Javier Romagera took the victim to Stadium Hotel.
And it was in this landmark hotel near Hard Rock Stadium where the woman alleges Roma Guerra touched her breasts and tried to kiss her.
I say no, don't touch my breast, don't touch my everything. He say okay. He tried to kiss me too. I say no, don't touch me, because I'm crying. I say no, stop.
She said Roma Guerra did stop and then left her at the hotel for 2 nights.
She didn't call the police because he was the police.
Lopez says he was able to obtain this stadium hotel receipt that he says proves Roma Guerra paid for the room.
Just stay on the bed, that's it.
A close friend of the woman, Jensen Mondesir, said she called him from the hotel and the police later transported her to a medical facility under the state's Baker Act. Mondesir filed a complaint with the PD after she told him her story.
That this person is destitute, this person is alone, this person is mentally ill, and Javier Roma Guerra knew that, and that's why he preyed on her.
Lopez has sent a letter notifying the city of his intent to sue.
He had no rhyme or reason to take any of the actions that he took on that night.
I caught up with Roma Guerra outside his Miami home last week. There's allegations that you kidnapped a woman.
No comment.
This is not a laughing matter.
No comment, sir.
That you kidnapped a girl, took her to the stadium hotel.
No comment.
Did not report it.
Can you please get off my property? Please?
Tried to have sex with her. Now, I just learned that Roma Guerra, after that confrontation and after I started asking police about the investigation, has been taken off the road and put on desk duty. In the video, poured on Bob Norman, Local 10 News.
Okay, Bob, thanks a lot. And Bob says that while the city confirmed the case is under active and ongoing internal investigation, a spokeswoman claimed that the sergeant's reassignment from the road.
Allegations of sexual harassment and inappropriate sexual relationships are now dogging a South Florida police department.
A love triangle allegedly involving the now former Miami Gardens police chief is being exposed tonight, and taxpayers may foot the bill with the city on official notice that a hefty lawsuit is coming.
Here's investigator Bob Norman with a special report you'll only see on Local 10.
When you take this job, you have an understanding.
In November 2015, Antonio Brooklyn landed his dream job, Miami Gardens police chief.
The violence against our community must stop.
But less than a year in, Brooklyn abruptly resigned, citing his mother's illness and writing, "My mother, wife, and children are my heart, and I live for them." Brooklyn echoed that when I recently caught up with him at his home. Was that the real reason you resigned?
My mom means the world to me. My wife means the world to me. My kids mean the world.
But attorney Stephen Lopez says there was another reason.
Facts will show he left after these allegations.
Those allegations involve a love triangle that included Brooklyn and 2 young female police officers, Kalisha Battle and Kimberly McDonald. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, are you Kimberly?
No.
McDonald refused comment, but her attorney Rick Diaz confirmed that Brooklyn began dating her roughly 2 years ago when she was a rookie.
What are you thinking? You don't do that. You know, you're the chief. It's an abuse of power.
It's also in violation of policy, which dictates that permission must be given for such relationships. At the same time, McDonald was also dating Officer Battle, herself a rookie.
Alicia Battle was in a relationship with Kimberly McDonald. There was an outside influence, and that was the chief of police.
Lopez is representing Battle, and he alleges that Brooklyn sexually harassed his client as well.
Battle can testify to that, and she has written proof of that.
Lopez and Battle say these texts came from Brooklyn while Battle was in the application process. One in which the chief allegedly wrote, "I want to feel you," and another where he allegedly asked to see her while she's out at a bar. Battle told me on the phone that Brooklyn once touched her inappropriately in a police car.
She was sexually harassed by Brooklyn, knowing that she was a lesbian.
The situation exploded April 18th when Battle and McDonald became involved in a physical domestic dispute at McDonald's home. An investigation began, during which Battle claims Brooklyn personally pressured her to resign with a promise he could help her get another job.
Where he would take care of her, and that he would make phone calls for her to either work in another department or he would bring her back. That never came through.
Lopez sent an intent to sue letter to the city just 3 days prior to Brooklyn's resignation last September. Can you talk about the sexual harassment allegations?
I don't know of any sexual harassment that occurred.
Brooklyn was tight-lipped on the allegations. Well, did you have a relationship with Kimberly McDonald while you were chief?
Comment.
So you're not going to deny that?
I have no comment.
McDonald's now suspended with pay. Both Diaz and Lopez say they blame the city for appointing Brooklyn chief in the first place.
Chief Antonio Brooklyn engaged in, sexual harassment throughout the course of his tenure at the Miami Gardens Police Department.
Before becoming chief, Brooklyn was suspended for 30 days and demoted back in 2009 and was investigated when a female crime scene technician alleged he sexually harassed her with calls and texts. An internal investigation found considerable inappropriate behavior on Brooklyn's part.
Was he the best guy out there for the job? Please. You don't put somebody in there who's got baggage, in my opinion.
Can you comment on the hiring? Mayor Oliver Gilbert, a friend and fraternity brother of Brooklyn's, refused comments. Do you regret hiring him, Mayor? I mean, you knew he had a history of sexual harassment. Was that a mistake?
We're trying to have our city council meeting. And while I appreciate that you want to
Well, we have a minute. You can just address it real quick.
No, we actually don't have a minute. We're about to start right now.
Attorney Diaz said he's exploring legal action against the city on behalf of McDonald's as well, but he said right now she just wants to get back to work. In Miami Gardens, I'm Bob Norman, Local 10 News.
Our Bob Norman on the case. Bob, thanks a lot. Attorney Diaz told Bob that Brooklyn pressured Officer McDonald to delete texts and emails to hide their relationship, and she did so out of fear.
Now a developing story out of Miami Gardens where residents woke up this morning across the city to disturbing messages spray painted on buildings, fences, and even mailboxes. CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez joins us live to explain what happened. Maribel?
Well, Elliot, most of the residents we spoke to say this is quite disturbing. They say it's a quiet neighborhood. Most of the residents know each other. So when they woke up to this, it was quite shocking. This house behind me is one of 5 homes that we know of that have been targeted, and police as well as residents want to make sure it ends here. Devon Bryan has been living in this home for 2 weeks and this morning woke up to this. Several detectives, Miami Gardens police officers, and crime scene investigators surrounding his mailbox that had been vandalized.
I'm surprised that this happened in this neighborhood.
On that mailbox in black spray paint, KKK.
It kind of hurts that that it's still going on, but hopefully it's something that the cops could take care of.
Down the street, another home also vandalized with messages of hate to the front and around the side. This resident, who preferred not to be identified, says he's been living here for 5 years and has never had a problem until now. Is it insulting to you?
In a way, which, we've been going through this for a lot of years, so, you have a tendency to ignore some of this stuff.
Miami Gardens police are not taking this lightly. They spent several hours talking with residents in the area around Northwest 43rd Court and 180th Street, trying to figure out who did this and why. 2 other homes just a few blocks away. This one on 183rd Street was also targeted. The fence vandalized with hate messages. The other home on 178 Drive was also sprayed. And detectives are also investigating a McDonald's on 183rd Street and 47th Avenue where a swastika was drawn on the men's bathroom wall, a situation that has many residents in the area disturbed.
That means somebody does not like black people or don't like Spanish. I don't know.
And apparently this all started yesterday. Police did respond to the home of a white Cuban family. They just moved in here just a few months ago. Their home was also vandalized with similar hate messages. So police, as well as residents, are trying to get to the bottom of this and are asking anyone with information as to what happened here to call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. We're live in Miami Gardens. Maribel Rodriguez, CBS.
Now at 5:30, police opening fire, leaving a man dead.
If I knew they were going to kill my child, I would have never called them and asked them to come and help me.
Tonight, a family demanding answers after this killer confrontation.
A mother calling police, asking them to help her son.
She could have never predicted what would happen next. 7's Lorena Estrada is live at Miami Gardens at the scene of this tragic shooting. Lorena?
Well, Lynn, Mike, this family is still waiting to learn the details of this deadly confrontation. I can tell you, Miami Gardens police is not releasing much information at this time now that a major investigation is underway. But when we spoke to the family, they tell us that they strongly believe this could have been prevented.
I had 25 years of my son's life. Now I don't have nothing. And I don't, because I just asked them for help.
Help was all this mother wanted from police. helped to get her mentally ill son, 25-year-old Laval Hall, to calm down and return home. But when two officers responded to the home on Northwest 191st Street and 3rd Avenue, the confrontation turned deadly. Police say Hall did not cooperate and engaged in a physical altercation with police using an object, forcing police to shoot him.
All of a sudden you ran after him. You know he don't have a gun. He had a broom, a red broom with straws.
That's what this woman says she saw when she heard the commotion from inside her home.
Get on the ground, get on the ground. And then shortly after that I hear boom, pow, pow, pow.
A day after the incident, Hall's mother is still waiting for answers. Mainly, why couldn't police handle this differently?
Why did they kill him? If they didn't know what they was doing, they should have sent someone that knew what they was doing against them kind of people.
Miami Gardens police has now launched an investigation into the shooting, one they say will be transparent and thorough. The department released a statement Sunday that reads in part, "The loss of any life is tragic and understandably difficult. We're investigating the incident and will provide an additional statement as more facts become available." Catherine Daniels knows she can't get her son back, but she says she can and she will fight for justice.
I'm gonna get me some justice for taking my child's life.
Well, police tell us that one of the two officers that responded to the scene early yesterday morning was injured and taken to the hospital. We're still waiting to hear from police about his status, but as for Hall's family, they tell us that they plan to have a candlelight vigil in his memory tonight at 7. We're live in Miami Gardens. Lorena Estrada, 7 News.
New tonight, a heartbroken South Florida family turning its grief into gratitude.
I am afraid to call the police for anything.
A new charity formed in honor of a Miami Gardens man shot and killed by police. And tonight, his family is working to better the community, all while pressing police for more answers.
NBC6 investigator Dan Krauth joins us live from Miami Gardens with more. Dan.
The mother says she has new questions tonight and wants to review more evidence in this case. The Miami Gardens Police Department responded to her home right here behind me after she called 911. They showed up and ended up chasing her son down this street right here, where he was ultimately shot and killed.
I would have never called them if I knew they were going to kill my child, take my child away from me.
Catherine Daniels is in tears, as she was the morning of February 15th, when she called 911 for help with her 25-year-old son, who was having a schizophrenic episode. And minutes later, the dash cam shows the fatal shots fired by a Miami Gardens police officer. What exactly led up to those shots, we still don't know. Authorities say her son Laval Hall was swinging a broomstick.
Killed my child like he was an animal.
Her son is not shown on the video police released to the family. Her attorney is now requesting the dash cam video from the other police cruisers that showed up.
The dash cams from the other two cars will supply the missing links. Remember, the one video is just one chapter of this story.
They want to know if Hall was already on the ground at the time the first shot was fired.
Like he was just shooting at my child on the ground to me.
While Daniels waits for police to wrap up its investigation, one she has not been interviewed for yet, she started a nonprofit to help educate police and the public about dealing with mental illness.
He was already having his emotions, so he was really scared.
Just 1 week prior, the mother had also called police on her son. In that case, they arrested him and took him to a mental health facility. That is what she thought would happen in this case. The family has filed a civil suit against the Miami Gardens Police Department. As for police, they do not comment on open pending investigations. Live in Miami Gardens tonight, Dan Krauth, NBC6, South Florida.
Frisking and arresting people for no good reason. That is the allegation a Miami Gardens business owner is making against the police. And now he says there's surveillance video to prove it. CBS 4's Lauren Pastrana joins us live from the Miami Gardens Police Department. Lauren, what'd you find out?
Cynthia, I spoke with that store owner tonight. He tells me there used to be a police-issued zero-tolerance policy sign outside of his store. He took that down, though, because he believes officers are abusing their power to abuse the community, and one employee in particular.
In each of these 3 video clips, police are questioning the same man in the same place. 28-year-old Earl Sampson at the Quick Stop on Northwest 207th Street in Miami Gardens.
They always stopping me, going in my pocket, asking me for my ID, running my name.
Sampson says he's been stopped by Miami Gardens officers more times than he can count. His lengthy rap sheet is filled with minor infractions, including more than 60 citations for trespassing, mostly at this quick stop, where he's actually an employee.
The same one stopped me 2 and 3 times a day. I feel like I can't even be in my own neighborhood no more.
Sampson's boss, Alex Saleh, says officers routinely harass his workers and customers, and he has more than 24 surveillance videos to prove it. He says he installed 16 security cameras, not because he was worried about crime, but to catch the cops in action.
I was in the outrageous, how the police be abusing of the people in the community, how they be treating the people wrong.
Saleh, Sampson, and their attorney, Steve Lopez, plan to file a federal civil rights lawsuit soon against the police department. The complaint will allege officers have been instructed to illegally stop and search citizens via racial profiling.
When they're stopping people for no reason in front of the business and anywhere, illegal searching people and everybody.
Mayor Oliver Gilbert says he won't comment on pending litigation, but just 2 weeks ago, following a string of recent shootings, Gilbert explained the city's crime reduction strategy.
The line is zero tolerance. So if you break a law, you're going to jail.
The mayor made reference to a recent murder outside the Quick Stop, but Saleh says the pattern and practice of profiling people was in place long before that shooting.
Yeah, it is violent in Miami Garden. But that doesn't even right to violate people's right.
They say on the car you're supposed to protect and serve, though, but you're not protecting and serving, you're harassing.
Calls to a police department spokesman were not immediately returned. Live in Miami Gardens, Lauren Pastrana, CBS 4 News Tonight.
A South Florida police chief is arrested in a prostitution sting. We just got the mugshot of Miami Gardens police chief Stephen Johnson. Investigators say he solicited a prostitute in Broward County in the city of Dania Beach. Tonight, the police department said Johnson's employment with the city has been terminated. Johnson is being held at the Broward County Jail on $300 bond.
Hey, how are you? Wow, hello, that was quick. Like 20 minutes. I know. Oh, nice to meet you. You're back, right?
Mm-hmm. I wasn't that quick.
I'm back up. Yeah, well, I was talking on the phone. She was like, yeah, he's coming. And I said, let me know so I can get up and get freshened up or whatever. Oh, no, listen, we keep it fresh. I'm talking about, she said you wanted heels, right? Did you put your bag? Your bag's right here. I'm going to go get the heel. Get changed, yeah. Yeah. So where are you coming from?
Work.
From where? Where you working, Miami or Florida?
I'm going to go get fresh.
You're Miami boy. Okay.
Well, no, I'm not in Miami.
Yeah? Okay. So you... What the fuck?
Turn around. Cheers, over. You got anything on you that's going to poke me or anything? No.
I'm hurt when I say I'm hurt in the inside, but I got to be there for my husband and my kids.
Tonight, family and friends marched to bring awareness to gun violence in the community. This just days after a 6-year-old boy was shot and killed while playing outside in his neighborhood. Good evening, I'm Jawan Strader.
And I'm Jackie Nesbral. The community coming together and pleading for information to find little King Carter's killer.
NBC6 reporter Marissa Baggers joining us live from Northwest Miami-Dade tonight with more. Marissa.